Hi, everybody. Welcome to our CDC Child Development Center Parent, Family, Student Orientation. I'm Stacy Smith-Clark, and I'm the Center Manager at the Pacific Coast Campus Child Development Center.
And I'm Amy Bigelow, Center Manager at the Child Development Center and Learning Lab, the Liberal Arts Campus.
And we are filming this in May 2021. It's been a wild 14 months. Pre-pandemic, we used to hold these orientation meetings live for newly enrolling parents and families. This is an opportunity to go over the CDC Parent, Family, Student Handbook. But because we are still socially distant, we wanted to film this for our newly enrolling and newly enrolled families to go over these policies and procedures.
So we're just kind of going to walk through our parent and family handbook and highlight some of the areas.
So first and foremost, this is what the Parent Family Handbook looks like. Everyone should have received one of these upon enrollment. If you haven't, please let us know. We're happy to get you one. We no longer print these because we just don't. It's available on the website. If you would like a printed copy, we are happy to provide that for you. This was last updated in June 2019. And it was definitely written before a global pandemic was ever something that we thought would happen in our lifetime. So some of the things that are reflected have changed because of current times. And so we will be addressing those as we go through the handbook together. And also, this is a living document. And as policies change or as needs change, we update this probably once a year.
Yeah, and as you're reading and going through it, if there's anything that you feel is unclear or not included, please let one of us know so that we can make a note of it so that we include it in our next update.
And one of the things I always like to share with parents and families is that this is a huge document and that we don't go over every single thing with you in orientation because we'd be here until your children started high school. So we go over the things that parents and families generally have the most questions about, but please note that you are responsible for reading the entire document and being aware of all of our policies and procedures.
Should we get started?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. So the philosophy statement is kind of our statement of how we believe that children learn. And we believe that there's an interconnectedness between children, family, and the community, and that those communities are greatly enhanced by positive interpersonal relationships and high quality environments throughout life. We value every individual, all the adults and all the children, and we believe that they're capable of reaching their potential when supported and encouraged by best practices. And we also believe that learning occurs through active participation, which means hands-on learning. You won't find that we're doing ditto sheets or workbooks or things like that. Our artwork is very much more process-oriented than project-oriented, and we want children to learn and discover things on their own rather than following a model of what somebody else's vision is, what they think it should be or how it should turn out.
Thank you. Also, so as you know, we have 2 child development centers. And so each of those centers is providing part day and full day childcare to children in our community. First and foremost, we serve Long Beach City College students. Student parents always have the top priority for enrollment. We also serve the children of faculty and staff, and we also serve our community. We have 2 different types of programs. We have a tuition-based program where families pay tuition every week. And then we also have a generous grant from the California Department of Education where we're providing subsidized, free, and sliding scale fee childcare to families that qualify as low income and have a need for childcare. In addition to that, we're also a lab school. 2 lab schools. So we are training facilities for future teachers and also future nurses. They use our preschool as a lab setting to observe and learn how actual children grow and develop and interact with each other. Obviously, in May 2021, that is not happening right now, but we are very eager to get back to that, as are they. So all of those things are happening within these buildings when we're not in a pandemic. Right now, students are observing virtually, and we will let you know when they are coming back on site, live and in person. Our vision and mission for the Child Development Centers reflect all of us learning together as one community. And we believe in modeling best practices so that is the best for children to grow and develop and receive this individualized learning, and also for these future educators and medical providers to learn how to best interact with children. And we want to create lifelong learners, a love for learning. We encourage a lot of play-based learning here, and our philosophy is very developmental and emergent, and as Amy mentioned, based on best practices.
We also have an open door policy. Again, of course, not during our COVID times. The families are welcome in the centers at any time. They can come in and check on their child, see the classroom, visit the center, as well as anybody that you have designated on your pickup list can come in and observe or see your child as your representative. So right now, our guidelines are to not have extra visitors inside, but as normal times, we have an open door policy.
The centers are licensed by the state of California Department of Social Services Community Care Licensing Division. We are mandated by Title 22, and also because we have state funded contracts, we also follow Title 5. Information about licensing is posted in the center, where right now you can't see that wall, but we send all of that information home when you sign up. And if there's ever any additional information that you would like, we are happy to provide that to you or direct you to a website where you can find this information. But it is our goal to be compliant with all policies, guidelines, and mandates, and provide a safe and nurturing environment for all children and adults.
Yeah, along with the community care licensing section, if there's ever anything that you as a parent observe or hear from your child, or feel that something's not right, or you have a question about something, Stacy and I both encourage you to please come and talk to us. You maybe the best point of first contact is to talk to your child's teacher, to kind of ask them about maybe something their child told you or something that you saw, and ask for more information about it. And if you ever feel like you are not still not clear or still have an uneasy feeling about something, please come and talk to us so we can help resolve the matter, get down to the bottom of the issue, and try to make everything correct for all parties involved.
Yes, and again, just going back to the open door policy, we are available to speak with you anytime. You are always welcome to call us or email us if you want to talk with us in person and it's still during the time where you can't come into the center. We are happy to step outside the center to meet with you. We want everybody to feel comfortable in this environment and address any of your questions or concerns.
So Long Beach City College is probably one of the most diverse campuses in California, as Long Beach is a very diverse city. And so we feel that our centers also reflect the diversity of our community. The book Multicultural Issues in Childcare by Janet Gonzalez Mena reflects the beliefs and practices that the childcare services, and we've also included an excerpt, not an expert, from her book that you can read about that.
Our goals at the Child Development Center are for children. We want them to develop positive and nurturing relationships with one another and also with the adults in the environment. We want them to develop a sense of trust and security, to identify and solve problems. We want them to be able to express their thoughts and feelings and to think critically. We want them to grow up respecting the feelings and rights of others, to use their creativity and imagination, to work independently with others, and also to learn all of the academic skills that they're going to need later on. We don't say that any of our classrooms are a pre-K or pre-kindergarten room, because everything we do here is pre-kindergarten. We are getting your children ready for kindergarten, but we are doing that in a very developmental, authentic, play-based way, which we feel, and also research says, is best for young children. So if you ever have any questions about that or how that looks in our environment, we are happy to share that information with you.
We also have some goals for parents and families, and that would be for them to feel good about their role as parents, families, and about their children. And you'll hear Stacy and I use the term parents, families interchangeably and together, because we feel that some of our families are not parents. We have guardians who are here, but they are a part of the family. So you'll hear us use those terms interchangeably. Also for parents and families to gain insight into the behavior of young children in general and their child in particular, and to provide an atmosphere of caring, acceptance, and support, so parents, families, and the program work as partners in the children's education.
Thank you. We also have goals for lab students. We want them to gain practical experience as well as professional skills for working with young children and their families. We want them to learn about developmentally appropriate practices in group settings for children, and to become familiar with tools, procedures, and purposes for observation and assessment. All of our lead teachers here at the center serve as a mentor for practicum students. Practicum is typically the last class that students take before they get their associate's degree in child development or early childhood education. Those students are actually working directly with children while supervised by one of our lead teachers. And all other students, with the exception of a fieldwork class, are strictly here for observation. So in normal times, we serve 1,200 students a semester within our lab setting. The majority of them are just off to the side watching children and taking notes about their development. The fieldwork class, students are on site interacting, but they also have a faculty member present with them, and they're being observed by our teachers as well. Practicum students are paired with a lead teacher, and they're essentially shadowing them throughout the day and having some opportunities to interact with young children, but they're always being supervised. And the students that are in our environment working with children, we make them think they have responsibilities in the environment, but they really do not. At all times, we are the ones that are providing caregiving to young children. The students that are in our environment are fingerprinted and cleared through licensing. They filled out all of the paperwork. We want to make sure that they're safe to be in these environments. And if you ever have any questions about that, please reach out to us and we can share more information.
So as we've talked before already about how we believe that children learn, our curriculum follows that. We believe that children learn by doing, with hands-on experimentation, with the materials, the environment, and the people in that environment. Again, we aren't doing any kind of workbooks. We also don't prescribe to any certain curriculum. You'll hear terms like Montessori. We don't do a Montessori approach, but we may have in aspects of a Montessori approach. We might have aspects in of a high scope curriculum approach, but our curriculum is really following the interests of the children and is an emergent curriculum. So we are exploring and providing activities that follow a variety of developmental areas. but we might do it in a way that is of interest to children. So for instance, some children went camping over the weekend and they come back in and they start talking about camping, and other children take interest in this as well. So then we might go on and do a whole camping theme or unit, and we're going to read books about camping. We're going to sing songs about camping. We're going to do math activities around camping. We might do a cooking activity for something that you might cook while you're camping, and we're just going to run with it that way. We're not going to say it's the second week of October, so this means that we are going to talk about jungle animals this week because some book told us to. We're going to follow what the children are interested in. And sometimes the children don't really have any strong interests. So that's when our educators come in to facilitate and what they know about the children and ask questions about what do you know, what do you want to know, and where do we want to go with this? And then they just kind of find out that way. But the areas that we're working with the children hit all of the developmental areas that we use on the assessments that we're doing with the children throughout the year. And those areas are bolded here: language and literacy, mathematical thinking, scientific thinking, social studies, personal and social development, physical development, and art. The day is a blend of teacher-initiated and child-initiated activities. Some of them teacher-initiated, meaning more that the teacher has thought out the activity for the day. But even though the teachers plan, and by no means does emergent mean that there isn't a plan, there's a definite plan that the teachers do lesson plans for the children. But because we maybe had bristle blocks on the plan, which is a manipulative for the children to use to build things, and the children come to the teacher and said, we don't want to do the bristle blocks, we want to use the Duplo blocks. No problem, we'll put away the bristle blocks and get out the Duplo blocks. We're flexible because we're following the children's interests. Other times of the day that might be a little more directed or time constraints are things like meal times, such as lunch and rest periods for our full day classroom. But otherwise, we have certain times of the day, it's a blend of, like I said, teacher initiated, child initiated, inside time, outside time, more active play, more quiet play.
Thank you. And I just wanted to touch on the philosophies again. And I think Amy explained it very well that we don't follow any one philosophy, but just wanted to add that another reason for that is because as a lab school, we don't want to be one size fits all. We're training future educators, and if we subscribe to just one philosophy, we possibly would not be setting those future educators up for success if they only learned one way. So this really allows us at the Child Development Centers to pick the best parts of each philosophy from Reggio, from high school scope, from Montessori, and implement those parts that we like into our curriculum. And we feel that it works very well within our program and also helps the many different needs of children. Some children respond more favorably to something that has more attachment in it, while others really want something that has more independence. And here at the CDCs, we're able to implement all of those. Since I jumped in, do you want me to just keep going?
Sure.
All right. It's off the cuff. We're emergent here right now, parents and families. You can see that. This is how the day goes. We just negotiate and figure it out and keep it moving. Parent, family, teacher conferences happen twice a year. We have one in the fall. We have another one in the spring. Right now, those are happening virtually. Our teachers all complete a desired results developmental profile on every child. That is part of the mandate for being a state-funded program. We do these online, and we also complete them through an app called Learning Genie, which we've negotiated. So that is free for all of our families if you are interested in downloading that to your electronic device. You can see some of the documentation. At the spring conference, we release the entire tool to you so you can see where your children are, on these developmental scales. We do not release this information to you at the beginning of the school year because we have found that parents completely freak out if their child is not at the highest level immediately. And we also want to assure you that if we had any developmental concerns about your child, we would not be waiting until a conference to share those with you. If we have any concerns, we're going to bring those to your attention and offer resources, help, things that you can do at home. And if you have any concerns, please bring them to our attention, and we will definitely meet with you more than twice a year if that's something that you would like to have happen. Anytime you want to have a conversation with a teacher, we can set up an individual meeting or a conference. We'll definitely work that out. But we do have two sort of formal as we get at the CDC's conferences every year.
So we have our teacher to child ratios in our 2- and 3-year-old classroom. The group size is up to 12, and that's the adult child ratio is a 1:4. In the preschool, the group size is up to 24 with an adult child ratio of 1:8. During COVID, we have reduced group sizes right now. The city health department recently removed the number restriction to how many we can have in group size, but they still want everybody to try to maintain social distancing. And while we're fortunate that we have large classrooms, we are still at a reduced group size, much less than the 24. And hopefully in some near future, we will be able to get back to that group size. But our ratios are still the same as far as our adult child numbers.
Tuition is charged weekly, and tuition is charged regardless of whether your child attends or not. So we are still charging tuition on holidays and for any closures. If your child is out sick, we are still charging tuition for those dates. The tuition covers what we need to cover all of our costs and staffing, and then we divide this by 12 months to create a consistent payment every single month. And closure dates, we have a list of all holidays and in-service days that the centers are closed every year. These are available on our website, also on our monthly calendars that we share with all of you, frequently also in our newsletters, so everybody knows what is happening and when we are open and when we are not open. Tuition is due on the first day that your child attends each week. And if you can come into the center, we have a tuition box that you can deposit a check into. But we have been working for years and years and like decades on getting credit card payments to be accepted. So one good thing that came about from COVID is that has finally happened. So you are also welcome to pay tuition online via a link in our website. You are welcome to pay more than 1 week at a time if you are financially able to do so. And you are still welcome to pay by check. And if the tuition is late, there may be a $20 late fee that is charged after a week of late payments. And if you do not have tuition due because you are a family receiving subsidized care, and who is receiving subsidized care is completely confidential, only our administrative staff and you know. You don't have tuition due, but you do need to make sure that all of your paperwork is current and up to date. And I also like to let families know that if you are enrolled in the tuition payment program and you have received reduced hours or job loss, please let us know, because we may be able to transition you to this other program, which is truly here to help our community. And we've especially seen that, unfortunately, during COVID, a lot of employment changes, but we have been so grateful that we have this program, which is approximately $800,000 that we can provide free and low-cost childcare to families in need. So if that's something that can help your family, or you know another family that can use that, please let us know and we can see if we can get them signed up.
Our hours and days of operation are typically Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. However, during COVID, we have some reduced hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. For our full day program, and we hope to be back to our regular hours in fall of 2021. We also offer a part day program at both campuses. The morning session is from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and the afternoon session is 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. For those programs, there would be late fees that are assessed if not picked up at 11:30 or 3:30, the program closing time for those, or at currently 5 for COVID times, or 5:30 p.m. for typical times for the full day program. It's important that you pick up your children on time. After a third time of being late, we will be meeting with you to dismiss your child from the program, but we'll meet with you beforehand and you'll be notified to let you know that you've had your first and your second late before the third time. And we'll meet with you to discuss any barriers you may have to getting on time so that we can try to work with you to see if we can make some other arrangements.
I got a little bit ahead of myself in my last section talking about center closures, but we are closed on all board approved and federal holidays. So New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, we're closed 2 days for President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day. The only time we're closed for many days in a row would generally be between the Christmas and New Year's holiday. Typically, the college is closed for that week. And depending on how the calendar falls, it could be a full week. It might be a week and a half. We also are closed for 3 staff training days a year. So typically 1 in the fall and 2 in the spring, and staff still come to work that day and we engage in a full day of rigorous training, which we believe makes a better team and ultimately better results for our children and families.
So in order to be eligible for our program, our children need to be at least 24 months old, and we do typically follow the Long Beach Unified School District cutoff date. So they usually need to be 2 years old by December 1st of that year. And we group our children in classrooms based on ages. So we have a 2 turning 3 classrooms, 3 turning 4, 4 turning 5. And then in our Part A classrooms, it's a mixed age group of 3 to 5-year-olds.
And the rest of the things we're not going to go over right now because you're already here. Again, in normal times, you attend this orientation before your children enroll and we go over everything they need, but you already know that. So to keep it moving, we are going to skip that part and jump right into health and safety and wellness. And right now, all of this is just all of these same policies, but extreme. So to reduce the spread of illness, we want your child to stay home until they are symptom-free. In normal times, we say 24 hours. During COVID times, we're asking for 72 hours. So if your child has a cough or a non-clear nasal discharge, we want them to stay home until they're medication-free for 72 hours until we can make sure that they are no longer contagious and won't be spreading that here at school. The current regulations are that if a child has a fever over 100.4 or if they vomit, since those are big signs of COVID, those children need to quarantine for 10 days.
And diarrhea too.
And diarrhea as well. We are expecting this to change at any time. Again, we're filming this in May 2021. Things are looking up, knock on wood. So it could be that those symptoms would soon require just the 72-hour quarantine period. But if your child is ill, we do not want them to come to school. And we want you to call us and let us know. Another part of providing childcare in this day and age is that we need to track all illnesses. So please let us know if your child is not coming to school, because if they're not here, we need to follow up and ask why. We want children to return after they're symptom-free without medication. So if you give your child Tylenol or Motrin and they no longer have a fever, that really doesn't count. I will say that since we've reopened in September, we have had essentially no illnesses. And really that's because children are wearing masks. We're all wearing masks. We have always washed hands frequently and often. We always sanitize, but those masks are really key to children not spreading germs, and also that families are being really, really vigilant about keeping their children home when they're ill. So if we can keep that part up, that would be amazing.
If your child has been injured or ill while at school, we will give you a call. In case of an emergency, we want to make sure you have correct contact numbers on hand so that we can get in touch with you. If it's something that we feel that your child needs to go home for, or maybe be taken to the doctor, we'll ask you to try to get somebody here that's on your approved list within an hour to pick them up. If you do go to a doctor due to any injury or something like that, we ask you to call us and let us know what the outcome was, because we do need to file a report on those injuries that require medical attention. And then also along with that, if you go to the doctor and it is determined that your child has a communicable disease, whether after we've called you here or just at home something happens, we want to know so that we can alert other families that we have had an exposure of a communicable disease. Typically are the ones that we see are conjunctivitis or pink eye, occasionally hand, foot, and mouth. We don't.
And if you've never heard of these, welcome to group childcare.
We don't really see chicken pox too much anymore because of the varicella vaccine that your child will have received before coming. But yeah, those are hand, foot, mouth, and conjunctivitis, I would say, are the two main ones that we still see.
And your child's medical information is confidential. We will never say to you or to another parent that you might want to check your child because the child they play with all the time just got pink eye or something like that. We do, as a courtesy, let families know when there's been an outbreak, just so you can be aware. So if your child wakes up with goopy eyes and you saw the notice that somebody at the center has pink eye, then you may want to go and get them some eye drops to treat that. The exceptions to confidential medical history would be things like allergies and asthma. We want everybody here to know which child has allergies, everybody as in the staff, not parents and families, because we don't want any child getting something that they are not supposed to have. So if your child has allergies or has a medical condition like asthma where they may need a nebulizer treatment or an inhaler, we need to do some paperwork and have a plan in place before your child starts at the center, so we can make sure that we are ready to treat that should anything come about. We do have several children enrolled at the center that have severe, possibly fatal allergies, and they have EpiPens on site. So it is very, very important that nobody bring food to the center or share food with a child without their parents or without a staff member's implicit permission that it is safe to do that. I always say the days of feeding other people's children are over. You can't do that anymore. So it is for everybody's safety. We absolutely understand that food is love, and this is how we share ourselves and our culture with others, but we also need to keep everybody safe. So if you could please help us with that, that would be great. If your child ever needs medication while at school, we have to have a doctor's note, whether it is prescription or over the counter. We have a form for that, and we need to have that plan in place. Please do not just send that in a bag and put it in your child's cubby. That is very dangerous. We want you to give it to an administrator, make sure that we have the proper documentation so we can administer that throughout the day. Also, the regulation does not allow us to give medication as needed. For example, if your child had a cough and you wanted them to have cough syrup, you cannot give us a doctor's note that says, give it to them if they are coughing. That's, I mean, even though that's very clear to us what that means, licensing doesn't allow that. The note will have to say, give them this much at this time. And we have to have that written out. So we are very clear. If you have any questions about any of this, just let us know, and we are happy to clarify that for you. And if all of this is too much of a hassle and you say, I'm just going to roll up before nap and give them the medication myself, we got you, and we will help you with that.
And the medication needs to be for a current outbreak or something. We can't give cough syrup that expired 6 months ago or was prescribed 6 months ago and you still have some left. It needs to be for a current situation that your child's having.
Or the pink eye drops for your older child who had it first. We can't do that either.
True. So we've talked a lot about medication, and there's a whole bunch of steps that we'll take to give it to them, as well as in addition to paperwork. Stacy mentioned an incidental medical services plan. That would be for something if your child needed a nebulizer or an EpiPen, then we would want to complete that. Vaccinations, there's very strict guidelines on vaccinations nowadays. Parents no longer are able to get a physician's note saying that they are waiving their vaccinations. So we can give you more information about that, but and there's a chart here of everything that your child would need to have in order to come to a preschool. And if your child is not current with their vaccinations, then we can discuss with you what needs to happen in order to get them current and ready to enroll.
I've had a lot of questions about, will we mandate the COVID vaccine? We don't mandate any of this. This is what the state tells us we have to mandate. So these are not our rules. These are rules that we are sharing with you. There has been no guidance regarding requirements for staff, parents, families, or children in regards to the COVID vaccine. Here at Long Beach City College, we were among the first in the city to be offered the opportunity to get vaccinated. A large portion of our staff opted to do so, although who did is confidential because of medical laws. But we want everybody to feel safe and comfortable in our environment, but we also need to abide by all laws and mandates. And when things change or if things change, we always let you know in our weekly newsletters or in announcements so that we are always on the same page.
We've talked a little bit already in regards to sanitation and cleaning, and that we're washing hands all the time, but we've just kind of outlined some more times that we wash hands with children during typical times. But again, this is extra now and amped up for COVID times. Long Beach City College campuses are smoke-free, so there shouldn't be any smoking happening on campus at any times, definitely not in or around the center, but there shouldn't be anything even in the parking lot. So if you are a smoker, please extinguish your cigarette before coming onto campus. There's information here about secondhand smoke and third-hand exposures. Toilet learning, we accept children who are not toilet trained here at the center, and we work with the family to help the child to become toilet trained. We will meet with you and discuss that everybody's on the same page, that the child is showing signs of readiness, and that we're all going to commit and work together to get the child potty trained. And that may mean lots of extra clothes, lots of pairs of underwear, lots of laundry on the family's part to do at home. But we'll all work together to make sure that children have a successful toilet learning experience.
And we have many, many resources to share with you about this topic if that is something you are interested in for this or any developmental phase. Please reach out to us. All of us here have an educational background and degrees in early childhood education and child development. We love talking about this stuff. We live to talk about this stuff. So really, any questions you have about any phase or stage or any questions that you have, please reach out to your child's teachers or to Amy or myself, and we are happy to share information with you. We have brochures, resources, all sorts of stuff. So let us know what's on your mind. Center safety, we want everybody to feel safe when they are in our environment, and we strive to set up a nurturing and engaging environment for children to feel free and play in, but also be safe while they're doing it. We know that children like to take risks, and so we set up areas where they can take risks in a safe manner. When you come in here, you might see something and say, that looks very, very sketchy. And you are more than welcome to bring that to our attention, and we can have a conversation about that. Probably we set that up to make it look more dangerous than it actually is, but certainly we want to have open communication about any of your concerns, and also perhaps provide some insight about children's development and what they may be gaining from taking those risks. You want me to talk about what children should wear to school?
Sure. I was just thinking about adding something with regards to safety.
Okay, go ahead.
We are part of the campus safety and police security. They patrol our centers on a daily basis, not like inside the building, but they are aware, they know that we're here. They patrol by on our parking lots throughout the day just to make sure that everything is safe. Should we need to, we have direct access to call 911. We're able to have a lockdown and lock all our exterior doors if needed and shelter in place until help arrives. So we have all of those security measures in place without it being overtly obvious or a scary situation for children.
Thank you for adding that, Amy. What should your child wear to school? Your child should not wear anything to school that you ever, ever, ever want to see clean again, because we're going to ruin everything they wear. Our paint is washable, but it's not. If any of us were to get paint on our clothing, then we would easily be able to rinse that out. Young children saturate themselves in paint, and we purchase washable paint. We put liquid soap in it. It is no match for Tide, OxyClean, Shout, Zout, whatever it is. There is no judgment when your child rolls up to school in some stained clothing. We love that. We know that they are here ready to learn and ready to play. So please do not send them in a white outfit, because it's not going to come home like that at all. I don't know how else to say that more clearly. And usually when I say this in person, everyone laughs, and then they see their child and they go, oh, you weren't joking. Not joking at all. We prefer shoes that fasten or tie because they provide more security when children are running and climbing. However, we allow children to wear no shoes at all if that's how they are most comfortable. The only rule for shoes are to have closed-toed shoes on the bikes and trikes just for safety. Some children bring 2 sets of shoes, or they have an extra pair in their cubby, so they might wear Crocs every day or sandals every day, and then they change into their shoes or rain boots. Rain boots are very, very popular with preschoolers. Our signature look is a bathing suit and rain boots, preschool fashion at its finest, and it serves the purpose. We encourage dressing children in layers to ensure their comfort as the temperature changes throughout the day. We would like an extra set of clothes in your child's cubby. So if their clothes become soiled or wet, that they have something to change into. We would like everything labeled with their names, including socks, including shoes. Right now, I have 7 children that have the same Spider-Man shoes. And I'm going to tell you that if their initials or names aren't on them, I don't know whose shoes are going home with who, because they're all about the same size. So if that is something that is important to you, please put their names or initials on them. We have Sharpies in every classroom and also in the cart when you drop off in the morning. So you are able to quickly label those. We reserve the right to restrict a child's activities or offer them alternate clothing if needed. This really never happens, but I think this part of the handbook was written when like a lot of hoodies had strings around the neck. That's not something that is safe when children are climbing. So much so that I think they don't even make those for children anymore, and good, they shouldn't. But if that's the case, we may say we're going to have you change into a different shirt that seems safer.
And with the extra clothes, just make sure that they're seasonally appropriate. The long pants and long sleeves that you brought in September maybe aren't appropriate now as we're in May heading into June, and or they may not fit your child anymore. So we want to just make sure that those extra clothes fit as well. For photo release, part of the enrollment paperwork is that you will complete a photo release. We've divided that up into 2 separate ones. There's pictures and photographs that we would use here in the school for displays and different things. And then there's another one for use with our social media, either with photographs or videos to go on our social media sites. And they would be for, that would be a separate release for that. And then if you also ever want to change that, please let us know. If we were ever to have an event where we were doing something beyond the basic stuff, like a filming of some sort for a purpose, then that would likely have its own separate photo release for that.
And on social media, we never identify children by names. We have social media sites really just to give parents and families a glimpse into what their child's day looks like. So sometimes we will get it's generally a grandparent who gets very excited about seeing their grandchild and will say, look at Amy, isn't she so adorable? And absolutely, Amy is so adorable, but we delete the comment because that has identified Amy. And then we generally reach out directly to the person that made the comment and said, thank you so much for your enthusiasm. However, we don't name any of our children. And this has never been an issue, and it usually doesn't happen again. Sunscreen, we believe that children and adults in Southern California should be wearing sunscreen every single day. We would like you to put on the first layer of sunscreen every single day when you're getting your child dressed or upon arrival at the center, and then we will reapply throughout the day every child should have a bottle of sunscreen on site labeled with their name. And when that is running low, we'll let you know that they need another one.
For emergency preparedness, we do practice monthly drills for fire evacuation, as well as practice earthquake drills for children. So those are done and recorded so that we have those. I did mention earlier about lockdown or shelter in place, and we do also practice those with and without children. That's one of the things that we sometimes do on our staff in service days, but also just so that we're prepared for those instances should the need arise.
We believe the time to come up with an emergency plan is not during an emergency. So even though it's very uncomfortable to think about and talk about and practice at times, they become very emotional for us as educators. However, we believe strongly that these are things that we do need to practice and walk through and answer questions and make sure that we're all on the same page. The centers write a grant every 5 years that it's always been funded by the Long Beach City College Foundation, and we purchase food and water and emergency supplies that we have in a secret closet that is accessible on site. And these closets have enough supplies for 3 days of lockdown for approximately 150 people. So we have never had to use them, and we delight every 5 years when we throw these away because they've been unused because there hasn't been an emergency. We put the water in the plants. So because we're in a drought, we're in Southern California, but the food we throw away. But we want to let parents and families know that we do have those on site in case of an emergency. And I also like to let people know that maybe don't share that in the community, because if it goes down, we're just taking care of our people in this building. And yeah, until we can get your children back to you.
We also want to let you know that all of our staff are mandated child abuse and neglect reporters. And if we ever have any suspicion for anything, or a child reports something to us that sounds suspicious, we have a duty to report that to the appropriate agency, and we'll do so.
And we also want to let you know this because if you see or hear anything, our goal is to keep all children safe. So if you witness something at the park or at a grocery store or with extended family or whatever the situation, and you want to have more information about mandated reporting, please let us know and we can help guide you on that, because we want to make sure that all children are safe and that parents, families, and caregivers have the resources that they may need if there are any situations that are especially stressful. We want to help connect them. As far as parking lot safety, please always practice extreme caution while driving to and from the center. Children, as you know, may all of a sudden make a run for it. So please hold on to your child's hand, keep them close by. And then when you're driving, always maintain slow speeds in case somebody does try and dart across the parking lot. We have all information about current car seat laws, which I feel like they change every 15 minutes. It's very hard to keep up. But we have links to that on our website, and we send them out randomly as well. So you are all aware of whatever the current regulations are for car seats, boosters, etc. But we also want to emphasize that you should never, ever leave a child alone in the car, no matter how short the time. It's not only unsafe, it's illegal. If you are in a rush to get to class or to another child's school that goes to elementary school or something, or you have an infant in the car, please do not leave them in the car when you run your child in for drop off or pickup. If you're having a situation and you can't get them out of the car, call us at the center and we will see what we can work out as far as bringing your child to you or sending someone out to help escort your child in. But we definitely want to keep all children safe.
So when you arrive at the center and depart the center, you'll be signing your child in and out on the sign-in sheet. You are required to use your legal full signature, as well as recording the accurate time that you are dropping off and picking up. We want children to wash their hands when they arrive, especially right now during the COVID times. And we want to make sure that you stay with your child until your child and you have been greeted by a staff member, and that it's important that you say goodbye to your child, because sometimes they might think you're still here and want to go and find you. And for safety considerations, we don't want children running through the center looking for their parent who's already left. So we want to make sure that they understand that you're leaving, and reassuring them that you'll be back, or whoever's coming to pick them up will be back to get them, but making sure that you say goodbye and have your closure with them before leaving. And then also make sure that we always have a current contact emergency number for you.
Toys from home. This is something that we have gone round and round and round as a staff and with parent family advisory boards. And where we currently stand on this is that we discourage toys from home because they frequently get lost and misplaced and broken. And also right now during a pandemic, we need to add them to the rotation to be cleaned and sanitized. That being said, if your child has a transitional item that they need, whether it's a binky or a teddy bear or a blanket or a special book, of course they can have that with them. We want them to feel safe and secure and comfortable at school. But little cars and action figures and whatnot, if those are coming into school, they may not ever come back out because we are not going to keep track of them. And we let children know that if they're bringing in those toys, then those are their responsibility throughout the day. And certainly they can put them in their cubby, but our cubbies are not secure. So it happens pretty regularly where there's a pretty cool toy sitting in a cubby and somebody walks by and helps themselves and we don't know whose toy that was. So the best way to keep toys from not being lost and broken is to keep them at home or keep them in the car or keep them in your bag, and they can get them after school. We have a million toys at school. We have so many different things for them to play with. If you have any questions about this or concerns, or your child has questions about this, I have this conversation with children at least once a week. So let us know, and we are happy to engage in the conversation. But again, we want to stress, if it is something that your child really needs to help them feel more secure, then absolutely, they can have it, no questions asked, and we will follow up and make sure that that special item stays safe during the day.
We talked a little bit about signing in and out at arrival and departure, but a little bit more about that. When you enroll, you're completing an identification emergency information form where you'll be including authorized persons who can pick up your child. And all of those people need to be 18 or older. And we will ask them to show a photo ID to make sure that the person who's there matches the name that you've given us and the ID name matches the name that you've given us. So we want to make sure that children are going home with authorized people. You're welcome to update and change this form at any time. We ask that you update our main copy here in the office and not one with the classroom because those are copies and we'll get them a new copy with your update. If we believe that somebody who comes to pick up a child is under the influence of or intoxicated or something like that, the child will not be released to them. And if necessary, we will call police to help us with the situation. And we will keep the child here with us until somebody else on the emergency list or the parent, if it's not the parent, it comes to pick up their child. In regards to legal custody, unless we have any court documents on file to the contrary, we believe that all parents, families, both parents have access and the right to their child equally. So if there's been a situation in your home that has changed anything, you've got a restraining order or something to that effect that has been legally filed with the court system, then you need to provide us with a copy so that we can make sure that children are with the proper parent or family member.
And we abide by whatever the court paperwork says. And we want to make sure that we are keeping children safe. And so if that's your situation, then please get that paperwork and documentation to us so we can abide by that. If ever you're going to be late picking up your child, we ask that you call the center as soon as you realize you will be late. Our part day programs end at 11:30 and 3:30. And the campus, right now we close at 5 during these COVID times, but when we get back to normal, it is 5:30. We do not have any care available after the end of the day. There is $1 a minute fee charged for late pickups. And as Amy mentioned earlier, that 3 late pickups within the contract year between July 1st and June 30th will result in termination from the center, and we will help you find a center with the hours that you need for your schedule.
We also ask that when you're in the children's environment, back when this will be allowed someday, that you are not have any drinks, water, food, or your cell phone in use while you're here in the children's environment. We ask that you're not on your phone while you're coming to pick up or drop off your child, because we want that opportunity to be able to speak with you, and that time should be reserved and focused on for you and your child.
Birthdays, how will your child's birthday be celebrated? Birthdays are a huge deal for preschoolers, and they are frequently planning their party that is 11 months and 3 weeks away. The biggest threat that any preschooler can throw down is that you're not invited to my birthday party, and that is the end all be all. And it is, I mean, that's a big deal. So birthdays are celebrated in every single classroom unless your child asks us not to celebrate it, or unless you ask us not to celebrate it because that's not something that your family does. Every classroom has specific traditions that they have. Our toddler classroom here at the center invites other children to bring a picked flower or a plant, and we sing a song, and every child hands their flower to the child whose birthday it is, and then it is over. It is exactly the same for every single child, so there's never any judgment about so-and-so had a better birthday than somebody else. We don't allow cake to be brought in because of the nutrition guidelines we're going to go over in just a moment, but we also don't want treat bags or party favors or birthday invitations handed out at school because they become a distraction. We don't have anything where you can pay for a Hulk or an Elsa to come in here. Our goal and our philosophy is really to keep things as consistent as possible. We know that children thrive with consistency and with routines. And for the most part, every day is the same at school, and children find contentment and security and safety within that. So we acknowledge birthdays, but it is a very short celebration, and then we move on. In normal times, if it's something that you would like to come and witness, then parents and families, if you're allowed in the center during that time, you are welcome to come in and observe that and take pictures. Typically, we take pictures as well, and we'll email you one of those photos so you have that, so you can see how that was shared at school.
For our nutrition guidelines, we do participate in the Child and Adult Care Food Program. We provide lunch and 2 snacks every day and in our full day program, and we provide a snack in our part day program. You'll be asked to complete a paperwork meal benefit form at the beginning of your enrollment with us, and we ask that every family complete one so that we, even if you don't qualify for some benefits through that program, we do receive some small reimbursement for all of the children and families we serve here. So we ask that everybody complete one. We do provide all the food here. We ask that you don't bring anything in from home, again, because of a lot of allergies that we have here, and that we don't want anybody exposed to anything that they shouldn't have. If there is a situation that precludes your child from participating in our nutrition program, we ask that you please speak with us so that we can talk to you about that and make arrangements for that and fill out any necessary paperwork for that. When we do cooking experiences with the children in the school, so you may be asked to donate some items for that process, or we might have the items already here. But anything you bring in from outside, whether it's for a cooking experience or for some other reason, we ask that it is in the original container, and any whole fruits or vegetables or things like that need to be in whole and uncut and in their original form, unless it is something that's already cut up and sealed up at a store or something like that. We'll prepare items here at school, and we will be cooking them. And our food program food also needs to be consumed here at school. We ask that if you pick up during snack, that your child's allowed to finish snack so that they don't take it with them. Again, we're nut sensitive. We don't have any meals that have peanut butter or nuts in them. We don't use chewing gum and candy at the center unless it's in my office. And if you need a piece of candy, please come see me. It's like a 7-Eleven in here. I do need my afternoon sugar.
We do a full pat down body search the days after Halloween, because there are some peanut butter cups that are coming in hidden in pockets. Yeah.
Of course, when we do these cooking experiences or before eating, children are washing their hands. We do use cooking utensils and different things, hot plates, griddles, with not directly with the children, but nearby. And we do make sure that they're supervised while those activities are going on. Part of the cooking activities, we want the children to participate in that. It's not, let's watch the teacher make it. We want them to measure out the ingredients. We want them to be an active participant. Again, remember, they're learning through doing. So we want them to be as active in it as possible, within the guidelines of making sure that everything is safe. And during our snack times, we are including at least 2 food groups. So we'll either have milk and fruit, milk and a grain product, milk and a vegetable. So that's what we mean by 2 food groups. And for our lunch times, they always will have a protein component, a milk component, a fruit component, a vegetable component, and a grain component. If your child is not able to handle fluid cow milk, please let us know. We do offer a soy milk alternative. If there's another alternative that your child requires, please discuss that with us. Obviously, because of the nut sensitivities, we can't do something like an almond milk or a cashew milk, but We could do something like a coconut milk or rice milk if that's necessary. Or if your child requires a lactose-free milk, we can discuss that with you as well. As part of our food program, everybody is welcome to participate in that. We don't discriminate for that program. And there's a lot of information here in English and Spanish with regards to the federal non-discrimination statement, because the Child and Adult Food Program is a federally funded program. And also our program, because we are a state funded program and a federally funded program through our food program, we refrain from religious instruction and worship at the center. You can go ahead and scroll more, Stacy.
I'm trying to.
Oh, okay.
The little scrolling thing. Sorry. That was
That's okay.
Little delay.
And then there's more information about civil rights policy in regards to the federally funded nutrition program. And you want to go ahead and pick it up with communications?
Yes. So it's our goal to let you know what's going on all the time. So we have a weekly newsletter that we send out via email. If you share your email with us, we always blind copy this so no one hits reply to all and you end up with 70 emails. We also post on social media. We have a website. We also make signs at the center and at drop off to let you know what's going on. And we have never found a one size fits all way that works for everybody. So if you're the type of person that reads everything, this could be redundant because you're seeing it again and again, but we want to make sure that everybody has all information. We also do a monthly calendar of activities and information. These are also available on our website. We make hard copies available at pickup and drop off as well. Our social media policy is I mentioned that we don't want children tagged by name. If you take any photos in the center, we don't want you to post pictures of anybody else's child. We do have some children that don't have a photo release because their parents or families don't want them on social media. We also have children that may have a restraining or custody order in their family, and so they don't want it posted. So somebody who may not be safe for the child wouldn't be able to see them and know where they are. So we ask that you respect that and not post pictures of anybody else's child. We don't want you to share any information about any child other than your own. And we assure you that we are also not having a conversation about any child other than your own at any time. And if you have any questions or concerns about this, then please reach out to us and we're happy to clarify or provide more information on those policies. There's a notice in here about a parent family bulletin board, and we absolutely have these, but right now in May 2021, you can't see them because you can't come in the center. But let me tell you, they are beautiful and up to date. And when I say that, I mean, we have not updated anything on there since March 2020 when we closed down. But before you come back, we will update them with all of the latest information for you to see. Right now, all of that information is electronic and available on our website and via our weekly newsletter.
Let's see. Do we want to go down to participation?
Yes.
All right. So again, during normal times, we welcome and encourage you to participate in the program in any way that fits your family and is comfortable for you, such as attending any special events that we may be having, offering to help the classroom by doing things at home, serving on our family advisory board, donating materials to this classroom in terms of maybe toys or clothing that your child has outgrown. If you're able to volunteer some time we welcome you to do that, and we'll set that up to work it out with you. Work days that we may have, which would be like doing some center cleanup or maybe gardening or things like that. Any fundraising events that we may have in terms of helping with the fundraiser itself, not just in helping to raise money. So again, we have many different ways that are opportunities for you to participate through in the program during normal times when we can gather and have you here in the center. Let's see.
Supporting the child development centers. We sometimes have fundraisers to be able to raise money to buy special materials and projects. If you see all of the great things that we have going on, we do have a small budget for materials and supplies. We also collect an activity fee from families upon enrollment, from tuition-based families where we're able to purchase materials and supplies, and the rest of the stuff we want, we write grants and we have fundraisers so that we can bring those things into the center. Fundraisers are always optional to attend or participate in. There's never any pressure. If you would like to be on a fundraiser planning committee, we have means for parents and families to participate in that, or if you have a great idea. We don't support anybody's individual business. That is a college policy. So if you are a photographer and that's how you make your living, we would not be able to partner with you for a fundraiser because you as a center family would be making money off of that. However, if you would like to donate your time and take pictures, we would love it. Families have asked us for a list of things that we frequently purchase in case they want to purchase some of those things for us. So we have created a list of super exciting things like paper plates and Kleenex and bleach wipes and laundry detergent and fabric softener. Again, we have some money in our budget to purchase these items, but we always need more. And every single year there comes a time where we are dipping into fundraising money to purchase things like Ziploc bags, which is not exciting at all. So if you are financially able to, and the next time you go to Costco or Sam's Club or Target and you want to buy us some Band-Aids or AA batteries or something like that, we love and appreciate it. If you have a hookup for any of these things, let us know. We once had a parent that worked at the LA Convention Center, and he called me one day and said, "Do you want 500,000 paper cups?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And we did not have to buy cups for 4 years at either center. We also once had a family that worked for Kleenex, and we got all our Kleenex for free. And then that family moved to another state, and I was personally devastated by that. So we definitely appreciate any and all donations. And again, it's not mandatory, it's completely optional if you feel like that's something you want to do. If it is something you want to do, we ask that everything be as plain and as nondescript as possible, because all children will tell you that milk in a Paw Patrol cup is far superior to milk in a plain cup. And if there are not enough Paw Patrol cups to go around, there will be a fight club and a lot of tears. So we want everything to just be as basic as possible. We really try to limit commercialization within the center with the materials and supplies that we provide. So thank you so much.
We do have a dissolution of services policy, and these would be reasons for the family and child to be terminated from the program by administration, and some of the types of ways that would be reasons are listed here. For some of these reasons, usually we will have met with you to discuss what we can do so that we don't get to this point. But if the situation continues and an improvement isn't made, it may become necessary for us to dissolve services. Again, like I said, we usually will meet beforehand. The only time that would come necessary for us to not give notice and not meet beforehand would be in a situation that was so egregious or dangerous to children, staff, and families at the center to continue services any longer. If you are choosing to withdraw your child from the program, then we ask that you give us a 1-week written notice, and we will continue to charge fees until we've received that notice. And any unpaid fees will result in a delinquent notice of fees to Long Beach City College Admission and Records and the Department of Fiscal Affairs. And we ask that all of your tuition is made current before you leave so that we don't have to get to that point. Any family that's terminated for any reason also will not be allowed to re-enroll for a period of at least 6 months from the date of termination.
Earlier, I received a phone call from a colleague and friend at another center who said that a family who was upset at their center about another child posted that child's information and how they felt their child was wronged on social media, and it's a whole big thing. And I am sharing this to say, please do not ever, ever do that. If you have a concern about your child or about another child, please come and speak with Amy or myself, or speak with your child's teacher. Or if you don't feel comfortable talking with us, we can refer you to somebody else that you can speak to. We want everybody to feel safe and secure. We want to help problem solve, and it is completely inappropriate to share that information in a big forum like that. And I'm sure that no parent or family would want that to happen to their child. So please have that same respect. And if there's anything that we can help you with or talk through with you, please let us know. And we are happy and available to do that.
This next section of the handbook was kind of written back when we used to have a parent participation program. That's been gone for a number of years, but we have left this in the handbook because it does, in order for the adult students in our environment to see what is happening, but also so that you have something to know how we do supervise, provide guidance and discipline here at the center, and what kind of rules are unacceptable, such as physical aggression, willful destruction of property, or engaging in any activities that the teachers determine to be physically or emotionally harmful to themselves or others. And so, and also another little piece about time out, and that we don't do time out here at the centers. Kind of what we do instead is redirect children to more appropriate behaviors. For instance, if a child is having a hard time remembering to keep the sand low in the sandbox, after a few reminders that if, and an explanation of when sand is up high, it could get into somebody's eyes or in our hair, and it doesn't feel good. If they continue to throw sand, then we'll be asking them to find another area until they're ready to come back and use the sandbox appropriately. So it's not something where we tell them that they need to go sit on a bench and think about their behavior, and we leave them alone, and we maybe remember that they're still sitting there in 20 minutes. That would not be appropriate. So we don't do a time out as typically is thought of here. It's more like a time away to find another activity until we can remember to come back and calm themselves and be ready to use the materials in the area appropriately.
And there's no punishment here. There's no shaming. We don't want children to feel bad about what they did. We really only have 3 rules here: to respect yourself, respect others, and respect property. And obviously we're more specific with young children, but this is all positive guidance, and we want them to learn self-control and learn how to guide their behavior in an appropriate manner and to be a good friend to others. So nobody gets in trouble here. And we don't have any rules like if you hit 3 times, you are suspended or expelled from preschool. We think that that is absolutely ridiculous. If there are some behavioral challenges, and I think I'm getting ahead of myself, and that's what oh my gosh, it's like I'm psychic. If your child is having some behavioral challenges, we will work with them and we will talk with you about it and see if that's also happening at home and come up with a plan for that. If you have concerns about another child in the program, or your child is talking about another child in the program and you have some concerns, again, come and speak with us. And again, we're not going to talk about any child other than your own child. So if you come and share some information about your child said that this child is really mean, we will listen to you and say, thank you so much. And we'll address it. 99.9% of the time, we already know, and their parents and family already knows, and we have a plan, but definitely we want to have open communication, and we want everybody to feel safe and validated within the program. Pretty much all behavior is a phase, and it's just successfully navigating through those phases. And I'm sure as parents and families, you've already seen some things and thought, I do not care for this. And then eventually that goes away and the next phase comes and it's even worse. And you would give anything to go back to that last phase that you thought was so horrible. And that is the awesomeness about child development. So please reach out to us with any questions or concerns if you need guidance or support for your child or for yourself navigating through that. My child is 28 now, and she was a kicker in preschool, which was especially lovely since I worked there and got to sign an incident report every single day for my child's behavior. So if that's your child, they're a little bit spicy, I see you.
Interacting with children, again, this is kind of written back from the parent participation as well as for the students in the adult students in our environment. But this also kind of gives you an idea of some of the things that staff are doing during different times of the day, how they are in our environment while the children are at the snack table, during playtime in the centers, and when they're doing a more direct adult directed type of activity. We also go into how we help children when they need help. It can be helping them to use their words, perhaps giving them the words, when they're pointing at something. Oh, I see you're pointing at the cup. Would you like me to get you a cup of water? Something like that, because maybe their language isn't there yet. Encouraging them to do things on their own as much as they're able to. We do practice active listening with the children. We try to acknowledge what they're doing rather than praise the children, which is can be very challenging at times. Giving them specifics about what it is that they did that was helpful instead of saying just good job or something like that. And if you'd like more information on that, we have a bunch of handouts that we can give you in regards to how to do that, alternatives to good job. We talk about how we handle conflict resolution when there's problems between 2 children. We want the solutions to try to come from the children as much as possible, and we help guide their facility and their negotiation. If 2 children want the same tricycle, even though we have 10 other tricycles, there's something about the one
that are exactly the same.
Yeah, but one of them seems to go a little faster than the other one, and that's the one everybody wants. So we'll talk about what we could do instead of it. And we reiterate with them, I see you both want the same tricycle. What can we do about it? And as much as they're able to, we want them to try to come up with solutions on their own. And if they're not able to do that, we maybe help guide that conversation to some acceptable solutions, such as taking turns, allowing a timer. And then we want them to come up with a solution and a selection that's acceptable to both of them. And then we'll check in with both of them to make sure that that solution is still working for them. 9 times out of 10, children don't want to go through this whole process and they just give up right away and decide to ride the other tricycle. But these are the steps we'll take when we can't get to that point.
And along those lines, we really believe in logical and natural consequences and limit setting. And we want children to be able to identify their boundaries and set those boundaries for themselves and for others. And we believe that these are life skills. And I'm sure we all know adults who never quite got those. And we are trying to take care of that in early childhood and in preschool. So we try and remain really positive with children and supportive. Some spicy behaviors are completely typical and normal. Children are learning about their boundaries, and they're pushing those boundaries as they figure out how things work and where they fit in. And all of those things are expected by us. Amy and I have been doing this for a very, very long time. Amy longer than I have, by the way. But we want everybody to feel validated and part of our community. And again, if you have any concerns, please come and speak with us. If you want to know how to do these things at home, we are happy to help you with that. With our students here in the environment, one thing we frequently ask them is if they saw something and they think, I don't even know what I would do if that happened to me. Ask that teacher, what would I do in this situation? And that's how you learn. But then also keep in mind that your children frequently act differently at school than they do at home and vice versa. And we are well aware of that.
Yeah, I don't know how I've been doing this for 32 years since I'm only 28.
I know, it's super weird.
Just the next page kind of has some definitions for you about observation and center staff roles. I always like to point out that our childcare assistants that's just the title the college gives the position. They are fully qualified teachers as far as state licensing goes. They all have a minimum of 12 units in child development and early childhood education and are fully qualified as a teacher as far as licensing is considered. Our next section kind of goes into our subsidized care program and information about that and how families are eligible for that program. And there's a lot of specific information to that, which I think as we're heading into nearly 2 hours here, Stacy, maybe we want to.
Yeah, so the biggest rule with that are attendance guidelines. So if your child is sick, that is always an excused absence. We never, ever want your child to come to school sick. So if your child is ill, if you are ill and cannot come to school, then just let us know, and that is an excused absence. We only need a doctor's note if your child has been absent for 10 consecutive days. If you want to have a best interest day, if you want to go to the beach for the day, if you're going to go on a little vacation, in the subsidized program, you get 10 of those days per fiscal year. And then you also get 5 unexcused absences. So essentially 15 days, 3 weeks. If you exceed those, then we have to terminate your child from the program because the state is saying that you don't have a need for childcare. If they are providing you with free or low cost childcare, then they want your child to use them. But I cannot stress enough that sick days do not count. Other excused absences that would not count as best interest would be a doctor's appointment, a dental appointment, whether you or your child, if you have a court appointment, if you are having car trouble, let us know what is happening, and we will work with you on that. And the other big thing is if any of your information changes, then the state says you need to let us know within 5 days. So if you move, you need to give us your new address within 5 days. If you are a student and you drop a class and add another class, you need to let us know that within 5 days. And those are the biggest things, I think, with that. And as far as reasons for absences, if you're a tuition-based family, to break it down, we're taking your tuition money no matter what, so you can be absent whenever you want. But obviously, we would love for your child to be here regularly so they can form relationships with their peers and that we can see them. But tuition is being charged regardless of whether your child is here or not. And this was a very long orientation. I feel like it's longer when we're doing it this way, as in when it's in person, it's interactive and it's back and forth.
An hour tops.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for watching, and please reach out to us directly with any questions or concerns.
Thanks.